We're live. Welcome. This is Kat with Ta-Da by Kat, Next Level Staging and Design, where we create magical transformations for residential and commercial, whether you're looking to sell or to dwell. And a little commercial at the top of this episode. February is going to be our self-love theme. If you or anyone you know provides a product or a service that has to do with mind, body, or spirit, please reach out to me. We have a couple spots left on the calendar, and I would love to talk to you about being a guest and sharing your magic with the world. So today's guest was so kind to jump on at the last minute. This happens often, and we love it. We had some glitches with our scheduled guest, but hope to have her back in the future. My guest today is a realtor, Brooke White. She is with All City Real Estate, and she's going to share with us what's happening in the market, the real estate market for 2022. In addition to that, we're going to pick her brain because I found out this morning that she has 4 kiddos, all in kind of that prepubescent age. Wow, that's difficult. So if you're a mom, a single mom, a married mom, a career mom that's juggling, starting your own business, doing real estate, what have you, stay tuned because she's going to share some tips with us on how to manage that successfully so that your family comes first, and you can still have it all, because we can have it all, right?
Yes.
So welcome, Brooke. Thank you again for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited. So let's start off with the first topic. And of course, if those who don't know, we're in the Houston area. So you can talk nationally, regionally, whatever, that you'd like to share. If you want to kind of recap what you saw last year and what do you think, what are they telling us they see for this year? What are we seeing? And I know you're studying to get your mortgage license too. So,
Yes.
You're not there yet, but, it's obviously tied. You can't buy a home
Right.
and qualify for a loan. So what are we seeing in interest rates and so forth? But let's start with the market forecast. What are you seeing there?
I see it's slowing down a little. It is definitely still hot. We don't have as much inventory. As soon as it hits the market, it's off. But more sellers.
Okay, and let me just preface that with because I do a lot of luxury properties too. When you're looking at $1 million plus, it is very common. It's going to take 60 or 90 days. Possibly.
Yes.
That's with the hot staged property.
Right.
So yeah, let's just preface that.
It definitely depends on
the average price is what would you say the average price is?
Anywhere from your lower end to up to 400, I would say. Those are definitely not staying on the market as long. Your higher end, it is, of course. We know that takes a little bit longer. It's a bigger buyer, but it's still going faster than I've seen before. It just depends on the area, of course, what you're looking for, I would say, in your forever home, or if it's not even your forever home, it might be something that is a temporary home, but it's still something you want, So it's definitely hit or miss on a lot. All different.
Let's talk about, and I know we've broached this a little bit in previous episodes, but it's that whole multiple offer situation. Are you still seeing multiple offers?
Yes.
I'm sure 180 to 250 because that's your first time home buyer, easier to qualify. There's a bigger pool and a smaller pool of property. So what are you seeing in the multiple offer scenario? And let's help educate maybe some newer realtors, because many are newer realtors, especially with this market. Many have jumped on the bandwagon to try to capitalize on the surge.
Right.
And even prior to this surge, the statistics were that 80% of realtors were part-time in less than 2 years. So it's a market such as that, really, even pre-COVID.
Right.
So what are a couple things that you've seen and you would recommend to newer realtors helping them navigate through multiple offer situations. Let's start with the buyer's representative when they're putting in an offer and they know it's multiple offers. What is the protocol, for that, the best practice, I guess?
Well, I would say always take the sellers in consideration. You're definitely going to end up in a multiple offer situation on the lower end, like you said, with the first time home buyer prices. I would say that, of course, don't ask for it all, because there's somebody out there willing to give it all to the seller, and if it's something that you really do want, take into consideration you paying for the survey versus the seller, or you pay for the title commitment, something like that, to where you're giving a little bit more incentive to become the offer that they choose. And
Okay, so let's stop there a little bit, because many folks may not know, maybe on the selling side, they think price is the only thing that's negotiable.
Right.
But in fact, you listed a couple things right there, and I'm going to add a couple, and that is owner's title policy, which is approximately 0.75 of the sales price. So that can be a considerable amount of money.
Yes.
That's typically paid by the seller.
Yes, the seller.
Yes, so that's something, as Brooke said, that you can say, you know what, I'll pay for it. Depends on how much you want the home.
True.
I know there's plenty of folks out there that are like, oh my God, I'm so tired of bidding on homes and not getting it. So have your realtor, or you as a realtor, offer to pay the owner's title policy. What was the second one?
The survey. Even if you offer to split the survey, I've had my clients do the same thing, just working with the seller in general.
Yes.
I mean, things like that, just lets them know, okay, they do genuinely, they're not trying to take everything from me at the same time. So we don't want to take everything from them. I've seen some very, very good amicable real estate transactions between sellers and buyers, because they work together to get it done. They both wanted the same thing.
It's a give and take,
yes,
and
it is.
Okay, I'm going to give you this, and I would like this, and that's what it's all about. But depending on how many offers are on the table, it's not just throwing price at them. There's also you have to know what the seller's motivation is. Maybe they want a quick close.
Exactly. That's
or maybe they want a longer close with the lease back.
With the lease back, yes. Right. I've seen that. I've done that too.
So find out what the motivation is of the seller, so that you can satisfy their pain point. I think that's going to help you.
Yes.
Right.
I think also, which works for me, I get to know the agent. Yes. I am right there. I want to know what your seller wants, or what your buyer want. Even when I'm the listing agent, I am like, they've been my friend. Okay. I'm not just an agent like, oh, it's a seller's market, I get whatever I want. You know what I mean? You work with that other agent because we both have the ultimate goal to take care of our client. Yep. So if you work very well with the other agent, it works, and it tends to make a very seamless transaction in the long run. So I think that has been my success with it, just in general with real estate. I go in like, hey girl, we know each other. Hey guy, like this friendship at the beginning as well. And we're going to get this done. It's going to be flawless, and everyone's going to be happy at the end. And I've been very successful with that, and I see that works very well.
That's a great strategy and a good point, Brooke, because people do business with people that they like, know, and trust. And you may have just met, or maybe you met on a previous transaction, but that seller's agent, if you come across acerbic or combative or just unprofessional, I'm sorry, you're not going to get the same treatment.
No, you're not.
Or consideration. So make sure, if you're an agent, you come from that, type of mindset. Or if you're looking for an agent, make sure they have that kind of reputation. Win the bid. So I'm going to ask you, and I've seen this on, I think, the one of the HAR Facebook groups, premium, whatever. And I don't remember what the outcome is, so I'm going to address it. Is it still appropriate, or has it never been appropriate, for a buyer's agent to have the buyer write a letter like, oh, my buyer's a single mom. She really wants to be in the school district. She's a nurse. She, blah, blah.
Yeah. I've had, yes. Okay. So I've
Pull on
taken,
the heartstrings
yes,
and
yes,
humanize the transaction. Is that done?
yes.
Is it frowned upon?
I wouldn't say it's frowned upon. I have never recommended. I've had my buyers just want to. And it does
Yes,
work. Sometimes
yes,
it doesn't because you have a cash offer and everyone's going to take cash, no matter if you
yeah,
have a letter or not.
right.
Um, Sometimes nobody cares either about my
Right.
dreams.
They're
I mean,
investors. Yeah, it's
they don't.
bottom line.
I hate to say that because I'm not. I would be the one like, oh, the letter,
Right.
but some people don't. So that's a hit or miss also because a lot of people, they are out there and it's some people do consider things just a transaction in real estate. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those. I do take all of it consider, as a consideration. And I've had my sellers say, okay, I kind of want to know some things. I got 4 offers. I want to know a story about each of these. So that
Yep.
happens too. It really depends on the client.
It really does, doesn't
Yes.
it? Sometimes haven't you found that uh, if they've been in the home for a long time and they've
Oh,
raised their children and there's so many
yes.
memories and they're having a difficult time stepping into the next
Yes.
step of their journey, and you may say, well, that sounds like, well, gosh, does that comply with equal housing opportunity?
Well, I mean, I think it does. I think it's more on it's an emotional thing. So buyers, I mean, I just went through this. I was the seller's agent and the buyer's agent for a family owned home property for 45 years. So we were all very emotional on this one. So
Yeah.
to be able to be a part of the seller and the buyer and express to the buyer, like, we didn't write letters, but like he got to meet the seller and he got to, he had me as his agent, and I was like, this is a very emotional transaction. It was, he was accepting of it. He understood it, and he's like, well, I'm not leaving. I was like, well, if you do, you got to let me list it again. And he goes, no, I'm going to stay here just as long as they stayed here. And I was like, I see, that's the things that help those sellers get over the
You mean,
emotional.
I don't understand. You mean stay in the house, not sell it? What do you mean stay
Yeah,
as
he said
long?
he's gonna stay there for 45 more years too. he
Oh, the new buyer.
The
Gotcha,
new
gotcha.
buyer, yes.
Yeah,
And
okay,
so
okay.
it kind of gave the sellers comfort. I mean, at the end of
Yeah,
the day, we don't know what he's going to do, but comfort when you see. And my last 2 transactions of the year actually were like that. They were both owners for 45 years of the same property.
wow.
Yes. And it
So
was
very cathartic, I would think very
very,
cathartic. And,
yes,
because oftentimes, which is why folks hire realtors, is to keep the emotion out of the transaction.
right,
But you have to make a judgment call. And in this case, you have to say, okay, this is what's going to make them feel comfortable. And as long as they're
right.
okay, then you can bring them together and help ease that transition. So I like that.
Right. Well, the main reason why both of those even met each other is because the buyer wanted to see the property and the sellers were not gone. And they're like, just come on. We'll just tell them where everything is. And they met. And I think that's what made the offer
Ah,
accepted at the same time. I was, and then we were in closing together with both. And it was so emotional for all of
yeah,
us. And I
yeah,
love seeing that because you just see the compassion that people really are good.
yeah,
And they want to give a legacy. Like they're like, well, we know all the neighbors and this, it gives a story
yes.
also. And you can create your own new story and you have some warmth in that, I think.
Yeah,
It's not just a piece of property and not just a house. We had memories. We raised babies, and now the next person, gets the baton, and now they're like, okay, we want to do the same. So it,
yeah. I
it's
like
very
that.
heartwarming
I
in
like
my in
that. And
my opinion.
many of you know I came from, well, many backgrounds because I've been on the planet for like 80 years.
Looking good.
But when I tell people, well, my sales career started in Yellow Page advertising.
Oh,
They're like, what's that?
my kids asked me about Yellow Pages the other day. I was like, they exist still. Yes, they do.
Yeah, like what's that? It's kind of like the rotary phone, right? But you know what's funny? We still say, what number did you dial?
That is
Right?
so true.
I just heard on the news this morning that vinyl records are coming back. That's a whole nother
I
story.
love that. Oh,
Yeah,
yay. I'm
yeah.
excited.
It makes me want to get a turntable.
Yes, I know.
My son has one. But yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy.
Everything comes back, I see.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because we're so really digitally connected today,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge when I talk to small businesses and the things that I see coming across my email. And I just took the ethics course. I keep my real estate license to stay connected.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was that interesting, that ethics
Yes.
course?
It was
Yeah.
good. It was
Yeah,
interesting.
especially the digital thing, and then the
Yes.
whole thing with Siri, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. Did you see
Very.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you learn some new things every time you take a class. I mean, we
Yeah.
continue education
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. And just so you know, not everyone is a realtor. I'm just going to give a little, anybody watching out there who's just a consumer,
It's
to
true.
have that trademark realtor,
Uh-huh.
that's what you have to do, Brooke.
You do have to have your license active to be a realtor.
Well, not only active, you have to be a member of the National Association of Realtors. That's an added expense. You can be a real estate agent.
Yes.
But you can't call yourself a realtor unless you're a member of NAR, TAR, and whatever, National Association of Realtors, because that's the group that requires you to have the ethics course. So it's a higher level, and Brooke is a realtor. It's a higher level of standards, if you will.
Very true. They hold us accountable for everything. And because we are representing the state of Texas, they want us to be on our P's and Q's, and ethics is the biggest thing, I believe. Yes.
The thing that was kind of eye-opening to me, well, just kind of a reminder, as they talked about that the biggest challenge in real estate, and I think it's in all businesses, small or large, is keeping up with technology.
Yes, I agree. Because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do the technology.
In today's everything that's available, it's like you need a whole nother person just to do the technology and the marketing.
Yes.
If you're watching this, Tori, I'm going to reach out to you to help you on Pinterest.
I have a Rhonda, okay, and she's my right hand man.
You do?
Yes, and I love her because she is definitely like my go-to. I'm like, girl. And she's like, you're younger than me. How are you not? Like, I'm like, because I don't like it.
And that's it. It doesn't light you up. I told you the few transactions I do a year for friends and family, I pay a transaction coordinator.
Same.
Why? Because number one, I don't want it to take away from my staging and design business, which is very busy. But secondly, I want to make sure that, everything, nothing happens until the contract in the place closes and all the I's dotted and the T's.
Everything.
That's very important. So I use a transaction coordinator.
I do too. And I didn't at first, and I got so busy, and I was on vacation, and my whole
there's so much paperwork.
Get off the computer, and I'm like, okay, I'm calling someone right now. She'll tell you that story too, and we're
and you know what? You're a people person and very vivacious, and it's like what I tell folks on my team: do what lights you up.
Yes.
Do what lights you up, because as they say, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life.
And I don't. I can tell you right now, I love every single bit of it. I have my real estate and my mobile notary company as well. And like you said,
that's right, mobile notary. Yes. So we're going to give you a plug at the end here. So if folks need, as a mobile notary, and you go all over Houston.
I will go wherever. I mean, I'm even going to go up north for a seller in Nacogdoches. I'll go wherever is needed. I've actually brought a lot of people into the business. I feel like giving is better than taking, and it always comes back.
I was a notary for a minute back in Southern California when I first got my real estate license. But
I love it.
I didn't really market it or anything. But now, because they had closers back then, but you can actually do full closings,
Oh, yes.
not just a onesie notary.
No.
Yeah.
I do full loans, refis, cash outs, reverse. I mean, buyer, seller. I do all of it. I enjoy it.
Wonderful.
I meet so many great people. And I also, that's like marketing myself for real
Well,
estate.
it is. It absolutely is. And and I was telling you on the phone earlier today. I love, I love when we just on the fly get a guest, and I'm probably more of an introvert than people would ever guess that I am. I could be happy just reading a book, sitting in my backyard, taking a walk. I mean,
Yeah,
I could be kind of a loner. I'm good with being alone by myself. So this
me
works
too.
too.
Believe it or not, nobody would believe that, but I'm like, I get to
Yep.
go home and I can stay there. Yes. Like,
Yes.
I mean, my job is the only reason why I leave this house.
Exactly. Exactly. I hear you. I have a preview on Saturday and a consultation. I'm like, oh, I haven't been out of the house except for lunch with my
I
hubby
know.
in 10 days.
I tell everyone, if you see my car in the driveway, that does not mean I'm not working.
That's
I
right.
mean, I'm
That's
on the
right.
computer. I'm doing a lot of things, but yes,
Yeah.
I mean, I do love to be at home as well.
So we've got about 10 minutes, and I
Okay.
would thank you for sharing
Yes.
that part of the nuggets on the real estate of the market. Great information. Let's dive into those mums out there, dads out there who are struggling, juggling, looking for tips on how to balance your work life with your little rugrats. Well, I know
Little
they're not
ones.
rugrats. Yeah, yours are prepubescent, which are,
Yes.
wow, if you think, oh, that's the time they need you more, right?
Yes, they do. So
And your
we're
kids are
blended.
age, share with our audience the age pretty
Okay,
close.
so
Some
we're
people have mentioned
blended.
it.
I have two and he has two, and so mine are 8 and 12, and his are 9 and 11. So we are literally staggered, like two sets of twins. But they're such great kids.
Yeah.
You can tell you've definitely done your job right when you have some really good kids in the house and in public. Um, no, I definitely before we blended and everything, it was me and the girls, and I was in property management, and they were always with me at the property. It's like they were little property managers in the making. So they kind of grew up with me in my careers. And you juggle it because they're your babies. You have to. And there was a point in my life I was like, I'm not going to let somebody dictate when I can see my child or take my child to the doctor or anything like that. And so I decided to do the career change. I became a realtor in my mobile notary business. Um, and they don't go with me with mobile notary. They have never done that.
Yeah,
But
that's
with
good.
real estate, they go a lot. And no one hates it. They love it. If anything, I think they help sell the houses. Um, because
I agree with you.
yes,
Back, as I told you, I help friends and family, and I've had a couple listings where I still have pictures of my granddaughter's 10 now, but she was
yes,
4, and we do videos of her touring and showing the double oven, and
yes,
it's just,
yes.
she would come with me to open houses and serve cookies, and as long as you've raised those children to where they're not unruly, they're not obnoxious, they have good
Right.
manners, all of that stuff. I think it's an added value.
It
You know,
is. And
people see the human side of you,
yep.
as a mom.
Yes, and they're definitely accepting of it. I have to say that they don't they're not mad about it, like, and all my clients become friends, family, like we just adopt each other. Okay, so then they
Right.
adopt my little ones practically too, and definitely the youngest, because she wants to be in your attic, like she wants to check everything out for you, like she's checking the structure of your house, and they're just like, okay mom, you're doing a good job. I'm like, yeah, she's my mini realtor in the making. And so
And how old is your little one?
she's 8.
She's 8.
I
Okay.
swear she's gonna be the president of the United States one day. So she wants her, or her school for sure. But no, it's just it. I think it definitely tells somebody who you are. And yes, work is number one. Don't get me wrong, because it pays our bills and it gives us our lifestyle. However, my kids are number one. Like they're on top of that, because they're the reasons I did all this to begin with. You
Yep.
know, I
Yep.
I built the empire for them, and so that they have something to look forward to. Sorry,
And
my
you know
dog.
that's so important. You know, I talk to people and see people who feel out of balance and things aren't just right, and it's because, you know, I call it, you know, the pyramid starts with your values, your governing
Right,
values, and what's important to you. And when you build the pyramid, you know, then you have really what is on your calendar, what are your action items, what are you doing, and if on your calendar has no space, time, etc., for what's in the bottom of your governing values, you're going to feel very disconnected and maybe not know why.
right. I
Yeah,
agree. I definitely agree. You have to put in perspective, like, because all of those things are considered whenever you're raising children, and you have to allot that time because, yes, you don't want your child to be like, okay, mom, worked a lot. That's all she did. Yes, we had everything we ever wanted, but we never saw her. And you
yeah.
can't,
Those saying kids grow up, they don't remember what you had in the bank.
nope.
They remember the time that you spent with them.
Yes, and
So
we go all over the place. Like every time we have all four of the kids, we are out. We are doing something. I tend to work around being with them, period. Sorry, my dog has her toy. Quit. I'm so sorry.
because you can make your schedule. So I don't know if this ever happens to you, but you know, 20 some years ago when I first got my real estate license and got out of corporate America, I was in IT. Um, you know, and you're hungry. I mean, I'm talking brand new. You know, you're hungry to have clients and to be successful. And I can remember so many times, you know, getting a phone call in the middle of dinner and, can you show me this property? How do you navigate against, you know, or with that? How do you set your boundaries for that to make it to where you're not the, you know, being strong as a puppet?
You mean when I'm showing houses? Is that what you're saying?
Well, demanding clients. I mean, I don't know if it happens to
Oh,
you. But, you know, they call up and go, yeah, well, I need to see it. Just came on the market. I need to see it right now. Or, you
now
know,
I
you know,
won't
they
lie
just
to you.
call you out of the blues with no consideration, no appointment setting.
No,
Does that
okay.
ever happen?
Yes, it happens. And honestly, that does happen, and I run out the door. Because you do have to sometimes, and I do set limitations. Obviously, I'm not gonna go after 8 o'clock. I do. I have a family, but there are times that if I know, like, I'll have to tell my clients also, we got to go now. You know what I
Ah,
mean? So it goes both ways, and
okay.
definitely if it's something that we've been looking for. Now, it doesn't happen as often because a lot of people, they have to have a schedule.
Sure.
So, you know what I mean? And so we have to work around their schedule too. But no, I've had some, and I've had some people that didn't care, and you just take that with a grain of salt. I mean, you do, and you show them that you are there. Like, I'm going to be there. Now, if it becomes excessive, you have to put limitations on it.
Yeah.
You just have to,
Because
because
there are abusive, you know,
there
potential
are.
clients out there that, yeah, that don't have any respect for your time.
Right.
So those are individual case basis. But I understand, especially in today's market, and really there's just so many variables. That's what's exciting about
Yes.
the real estate industry, that you have to take those into consideration. Have you ever had to fire a client?
Yes.
And
Oh,
here's the beauty: as a solopreneur, entrepreneur, you
you
know,
can.
you can do that because
Yes.
everybody deserves to have clients that know, like, trust, and value what they bring to the table.
Right. And it was heartbreaking for me. I'm not going to lie, because I did everything that any other buyer would have loved. They were out of state. I won't say what state. But it was, they thought I had no other focus but them. No life, no
Yeah,
kids, no other
yeah,
clients, no nothing. And then we were in the thick of the market to where no one's getting offers accepted because you got 30 of them in the area that you're looking for. Well,
yeah.
then that became my fault. And I'm like, but that's not my fault. And so I did get them under contract for our house finally, and then they backed out. I had showed them probably 20 houses. And so I was like, there's an agent out here that is definitely going to be, like, I recommended other ones. I can't tell you if they took that client, but I know I was done
You were
respectfully,
done. Yeah.
respectfully,
And
because
you know,
I, I
Go
wouldn't
ahead.
do that to someone. You know, I would not do
Yes.
that to someone. So you have to have your boundaries and don't be walked on. You can't be walked on, honestly.
No,
You
no. You
know?
need to know your value and know when to,
Yes.
and to very kindly go, you know what? I don't think we're a fit.
Yes. You need someone that only has you.
Yeah, I
You know?
don't think we're fit, but I'm going to recommend you to
Right.
somebody.
And I
So
did.
because
And
because then that frees you up for people who do respect your time, who do
right.
value you, who are reasonable, et cetera.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a sad thing to do, but yeah,
it
you
was.
can't be walked all over. And
No.
I do see some agents who need to have to learn that because again, when you're new, you're just so hungry to get business.
You just want to do it for everyone and anyone, but you
Yeah,
pick who you can have as your client. They can fire you
yes,
as fast as you can fire them. You
exactly,
know, I mean,
exactly.
it's your business.
Yep,
So,
yep,
ugh,
absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Brooke. We're kind of at our 30-minute
okay.
mark, about 31 minutes. Great information on how to
Thanks.
juggle family with being in real estate, as well as what's going on with the market, et cetera. And how would folks, if they want to reach out to you in the Greater Houston area, how can they contact you?
I'm on Facebook under Brooke White. I have a
Okay.
notary page and I have a real estate page on there. And then my email address is Brooke White, Brooke with an E, txrealtor@gmail.com.
Brooke with an
Please,
E. Don't
yeah,
forget that.
Brooke with an E.
And wonderful, wonderful. So, where is? Tell me just briefly before we go, because I hadn't heard of All City Real Estate. Or yeah,
Yes.
tell me a bit about that brokerage.
Okay, All City is based out of Austin. We have a San Antonio location, and we do
Oh,
have a Houston location, Dallas as well. So we're working on getting our Woodlands location,
oh wow,
and we are known as one of the fastest growing brokers in the state of Texas. We did
wow,
our numbers were phenomenal last year. They're just great. The compensation is always 100%, and yes.
wow.
They have all the tools that you would find any other broker. Our broker, Kevin Scanlon, he is country and down to earth, and I mean, you can't go wrong with someone like that. And we just ultimately love real estate. Like everyone just kind of has each other's back. So I'm not leaving. I love it, and I look forward to opening the Woodlands location soon.
Awesome. We'll have to talk. I'd love to come out and talk at your office.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
interview at your
absolutely.
office. Yeah, because you live in the Woodlands, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Oh,
Thank you
goody.
again, Brooke. And
Thank
I'm
you.
going to end the podcast. Stay on for a couple minutes. We'll chat it up for a minute. And everybody, have a wonderful weekend. Remember to stay or get positive, stay or be hopeful,
Yes.
and stay or get connected with us. And thank you so much for connecting with us today. Have a magical, beautiful, wonderful, positive, joyful weekend. And we'll see you next week.